The fight didn't start loud, it started quiet, which somehow made it worse. The kind of silence that feels like it's pressing on your chest, the kind that reminds you of all the words you've been holding back for years. We were standing in my kitchen, the same place where we once stayed up all night laughing over burnt coffee and broken dreams, the same place where she promised she'd never disappear again. Her arms were crossed, jaw tight, eyes shining with something that looked dangerously close to tears, and I knew this wasn't just about tonight. This was about everything we never healed from. I accused her of leaving when I needed her most, of choosing distance over honesty, of pretending that time could erase what we lost. She shot back that I never fought for her, that I hid behind pride and silence while she was drowning. Every word landed like a punch, and yet neither of us walked away, because walking away once had already almost destroyed us. My voice cracked when I brought up the night she vanished without goodbye, the months I spent checking my phone, the years it took to stop flinching when I heard her name. She looked at me like she'd been stabbed, whispering that she left because staying meant watching me self-destruct, because loving me felt like slowly losing herself. The air between us felt electric, dangerous, alive. I stepped back, shaking, telling her that reopening old wounds was a mistake, that she should never have come back into my life. That's when she moved forward instead. Not angry. Not defensive. Just terrified. Her hands gripped my jacket like I might disappear if she let go, her breath uneven, her forehead resting against mine as if this was the only solid thing left in the world. And then, right in the middle of the fight, right when I was ready to say something unforgivable, she kissed me. Not soft. Not hesitant. Desperate. Like a confession she'd been holding in for years. When she pulled back, her voice broke completely as she said, "I can't lose you again." In that moment, the past, the pain, the years apart all collided, and I realized the fight wasn't about anger, it was about fear. Fear of loving too deeply. Fear of repeating the same heartbreak. Fear that some connections don't fade no matter how hard you try. And if this story already has your heart racing, if you've ever loved someone you couldn't let go of, stay with us, because this is only the beginning, and subscribing means you won't miss stories that feel uncomfortably real, the kind that stay with you long after the screen goes dark. That we stood there breathing each other in like survivors after a storm, neither of us speaking, because words felt too small for what had just happened. I wanted to push her away, to protect myself from reopening scars that never fully healed, but my body betrayed me, leaning into her warmth like it remembered something my mind tried to forget. She whispered apologies into the space between us, apologies for leaving, for staying away too long, for thinking love could be paused and resumed without consequences. I told her the truth I'd never admitted out loud, that even when I moved on, even when life filled up with new faces and routines, a part of me always listened for her voice in crowded rooms. We sat on the kitchen floor like we used to years ago, backs against the cabinets, talking until dawn peeled back the night. She told me she had lost someone after leaving, that grief had taught her how fragile time really was, how easily, later, turns into never. I told her how I learned to survive without closure, how I built walls so high I forgot what it felt like to let someone climb over them. There was no dramatic promise that everything would be perfect, no movie-style ending where pain magically disappeared. Instead, there was something quieter and braver, honesty. We agreed that love wasn't enough on its own, that choosing each other again would mean confronting the versions of ourselves that caused the damage the first time. When the sun rose, painting the room gold, she asked me if I was willing to try, not to rewind the past, but to build something new with all its lessons intact. I didn't answer right away. I thought about the risk, the vulnerability, the possibility of loss. And then I thought about the alternative, a life where I kept running from the one connection that never truly let me go. I took her hand and said yes, not because I was sure, but because some people are worth the uncertainty. As she smiled through tears, I realized this wasn't a story about a kiss or a fight, it was about choosing love even when it scares you, about holding on when letting go would be easier. And if this story made you feel something, hope, nostalgia, heartbreak, or courage, then this channel is for you. Subscribe, stay with us, and let's keep sharing stories that remind us we're not alone in the messiness of being human. Days after that sunrise weren't magical, they were fragile. Love didn't return as fireworks, it returned like glass, beautiful but sharp, demanding care with every touch. We moved slowly, learning each other again, unlearning the assumptions time had planted in us. Sometimes we laughed like nothing had ever broken between us, and other times a single word could reopen wounds we thought were sealed. There were nights she woke up gasping from dreams where she lost me again, gripping my arm in the dark just to be sure I was real, still here. And there were moments when I caught myself pulling away without realizing it, my mind preparing for abandonment before it even arrived. We talked through those moments instead of burying them, sitting across from each other with tired eyes, admitting fears that felt embarrassing but honest. She confessed that loving me again terrified her more than losing me once did, because now she knew exactly how much it would hurt. I admitted that part of me still expected her to disappear, that every goodbye, even temporary, felt like a countdown. Healing wasn't dramatic, it was repetitive, exhausting, and brave. We learned that forgiveness wasn't a single decision but a daily practice. Some days we chose each other easily, instinctively. Other days it felt like a conscious, trembling step into uncertainty. And yet, slowly, trust began to form, not the blind trust of the past, but a steadier one built on truth. One evening, as we walked through the same streets we once avoided because they reminded us too much of each other, she stopped and said something that stayed with me, that love isn't proven by how fiercely you hold on, but by how honestly you show up, even when it's uncomfortable. I realized then that the kiss during our fight hadn't been about passion, it had been about survival. About refusing to lose something real to silence and fear again. Our story didn't erase the past, it honored it by growing beyond it. And if you're watching this, carrying your own unresolved goodbyes, your own almost loves and open just enough to find mine, she smiled weakly and whispered my name like it was an anchor. I broke completely, tears falling without shame, because loving someone this deeply means accepting how much power they have to destroy you simply by being gone. This wasn't a setback, it was a reckoning. A reminder that second chances don't come with guarantees, only responsibilities. And if you're still here, still watching, feeling your chest tighten with every word, subscribe to this channel, because stories like this aren't just fiction, they're mirrors, and the next chapter will show what it truly costs to choose love when time stops being patient. That if this story touched your heart, don't let it end here. Subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories about love, loss, and second chances, because some stories feel real for a reason, and the next one might feel like your own.